number one pick. What do you think, Amin?
Listen, Rachel, I said it yesterday. I made the same comparison. He played for Tom Crean just like Victor Oladipo. I said what I said.
Oh, my God.
Welcome to The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols. Today, it is Halloween. Well, it's a day before Halloween, but it's a Halloween. I'm joined by future Hall of Famer Paul Pierce, who is legendary for his Halloween costumes. Brought it as one of the Three Musketeers today. He's got a little swashbuckling in him, right, Paul?
All right. Rachel, give this man his flowers. He comes with the Halloween costumes every year.
He really does. And then I thought we were supposed to have Amin El-Hassan on with Paul today, but I'm confused, sir. Who are you?
Listen, I'm Kendrick Perkins, the hottest name at ESPN.
Oh, my God.
We need you like old people need soft.
I'm using that later, Rachel. You can't bake the cake faster than you bake the take.
Oh,
We're in so much trouble here. I, by the way, decided to go as, it's the Disney NBA bubble.
Disney
I've got
bubble
the
with
snitch
the
line.
You got the snitch line.
Sign here, Disney NBA bubble. No, this needs.
It needs
I like it.
It needs a little less work than my costume, Rachel.
It's just going to be that kind of Friday afternoon here on The Jump. Coming up, Snoop Dogg joins the show. He's got a costume too, by the way, so you're going to want to hang out and see that. He's going to talk about the Lakers winning it all, NBA rappers, his brand new Lakers tattoo. You do not want to miss it. I didn't really think through having to do the entire show like this, but here we go. Yesterday on The Jump, NBPA Vice President Malcolm Brogdon told us he, quote, absolutely expects today's deadline for the NBA or the Players Association to opt out of the collective bargaining agreement. He expects that to be pushed back as both sides work through several issues before we can find out how the 2020-2021 season is going to look, when it's going to start, how many games it's going to be, whether next season begins on Christmas or Martin Luther King Day. It's going to be a sprint either way. Reports indicate the league does not want to conflict with next summer's Tokyo Olympics. So given all of that, Paul, how much load management do you expect next season when the turnaround possibly could be opening night 7 weeks after the NBA Finals?
I really don't expect a lot because you got to figure there's 8 teams that did not get invited to the bubble. And so they've been off pretty much like 9 months. And then if season starts in December, 10 months. Then you have 6 teams who didn't make the playoffs that played another 8 games. And so they've been kind of off quite a while.
Yeah.
Maybe the teams at the top, maybe the Lakers because they're older. You know, they're just coming off a championship. Not Miami, they're still young.
Yeah.
You know, they need more experience. So I don't expect a lot of load management from a lot of teams this year. Just the older guys that are in the league that put on a lot of mouths. Your typical Kawhi Leonard, LeBron maybe. That's about it.
Man, listen, you cannot tell me the sky is green and the grass is blue. Load management been happening anyway. Every year it gets more and more serious. So let's not blame this on the return of the schedule too quick. Like Paul said, 8 teams haven't played since March. You got another 6 teams haven't played since August. So we're talking about more than half the league hasn't played since mid-August to early September. That's plenty of time to come back. I look back at the lockout season in 2011, 2012, and the number of back-to-backs was about a quarter of the schedule. That's more than enough time for guys to go out there and play. I don't think it's going to be a big problem, Rachel, not more than a regular season.
I'm more worried about what they make the arenas look like. I think that they do need the big names to play, right? You're already talking about games without fans. There's a possibility that it has more of that rec league feel. What saved that in the bubble were those giant video screens you see, right? So that really made it, you forgot pretty quickly that you weren't in an arena with fans. You walk on that court, it actually felt like you were standing in the middle of a video game. I don't know how dramatic they can make the lighting in every arena, but I start to worry about if it doesn't look like a real NBA game and then we have load management and then you're not seeing some of the stars you mentioned, Paul. Those are the draws. That's the attraction, right? On a Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday or whatever, like midweek night. I worry about that a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. There is so much for them to figure out. You know, LeBron James, by the way, speaking of, had a nice Twitter exchange with former teammate Tristan Thompson last night. It began, quote, just had a drink with my brother forever. Real Tristan 13, miss my G, love bro. To which Tristan replied, my big brother for life, missed you too, broski, missed these times at dinner, going back and forth. LeBron replied, and this is the kicker, more to come, bro. For sure. Why does this all matter? Well, Tristan Thompson is an unrestricted free agent who won a title, of course, with LeBron in 2016. Dwight Howard is a free agent. JaVale McGee has a $4.2 million player option. He's making a decision on that. So, I mean, we look at the bigs for the Lakers. Is LeBron doing a little recruiting there?
Rachel, I'm going to address you like the numbers on a house. Here's the deal. Look, nobody thinks the game like LeBron James. He thinks the game 2 steps ahead of everyone. Like you mentioned, Dwight Howard, free agent, trying to get a big pay bump. JaVale McGee, player option. So there's a need for the Lakers to fit in a big at that status. On the other hand, Tristan Thompson needs to come play for L.A. like old people need sore shoes. This is a guy who not only had the best basketball of his career playing alongside LeBron James, but also has family ties here in the L.A. area. He can be a lot closer to his family and have an opportunity to play for a championship. And the last part about it is the Laker bigs during the playoffs, we saw how they had to get benched whenever teams would pull them out from away from the paint. Right. So you saw even when Bam out of the Bayou was out there playing, they still had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee on the bench. Tristan Thompson is a big who can guard away from the basket as well as in the paint.
Well, you got to forget, not only is LeBron one of the best basketball players in the NBA, if not the best, he's one of the best GMs.
Yes.
I mean, you got to understand, everywhere he's been, he's always brought in key players from orchestrating to Miami, orchestrating back to Cleveland, getting Anthony Davis to the Lakers. And he's going to continue to do this as long as he's in the game and always trying to find a way to improve, to enhance his championship resume.
And absolutely. And look, he's the one who got Tristan really paid in Cleveland. So if he has to come here for a little bit less money, hey, you know, one hand, whatever hand. You know, I mean, you've done such a good job as Kendrick Perkins. I really do like the whole routine here, but I'm not really a good judge. The person who should evaluate your performance is Kendrick Perkins.
Is he here?
Perk, what do you think?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, look. I mean, first of all, I like the impression, but you talking too fast. Second of all, your beard is not filled. And I want to come on here and address you like a mannequin, not the numbers on the house today, all right? So you got to work on your bars. And then look, on your chain, you got to have a piece on there. You can't just have a chain. And look, your chain not even hanging. I mean, come on now.
I didn't go to Cass University, man.
Oh, my gosh. This is great. Oh, my God.
Hey, I mean, look, I'm going to give you a 7, though. I'm going to give you a 7. But you was dropping your bars at the wrong time. You know, hey. Today, you just dead bird, tall grass, man.
Oh, my God.
See, Perk, even when you're not here, I got both members of the 2008 championship team. You know, we got to stand up for you. You could send him for other tasks that you want him to do to be your double, like parent-teacher meetings or laundry runs.
Oh, look. He didn't even, look, I see you got one pillow tucked in your shirt. You need 3 or 4. I mean, I got a belly nowadays, man.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Perk, we're going to run it by Kevin Garnett later and see if he passes. If not, you're going to have to come back out here to L.A. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for buzzing in.
All right, big fella.
All right, see you. All right, Rachel.
See you soon. All right, stick with us, everyone out there. Coming up, Mike D'Antoni is joining his former player, Steven, I've ever heard on The Jump. Welcome back to The Jump, indeed. It's Halloween here. I'm Rachel Nichols with Amin Al Hassan, Paul Pierce. I am the NBA bubble, the Disney NBA bubble. Paul is one of the 3 Musketeers, and Amin has decided he's not going to be anything anymore.
I can't.
You're just letting the side down here.
Look, I'll keep the look for the rest of the show, but I can't do the Kendrick voice. He told me I'm talking too fast. I'm dropping the bars at the wrong times. I need to go back and practice.
All right. We'll let you off the hook for a little bit. Given that Halloween is tomorrow and we are in costume, we wanted to stick with the theme. So, Paul, please give us, in no particular order, but your top 5 scariest players in the league to guard.
My top 5 right now, currently in the NBA, scared to guard. 1, no particular order, LeBron James. I mean, on any given night, look at this. He can posterize you at the age of 35, still winning championships. And you don't want to end up on the Wheaties box on LeBron's poster. That's a scary thought right there. Look at this. Just get out the way, young fella. All right, Damian Lillard. When I see this guy hitting walk-off J's from half court and you on his Sports Center highlight reel, and then waving goodbye to put you out the playoffs. That's scary. I don't want to be on that. I don't want to be on Dame Lillard's highlight tape getting busted up going home. Of course, Kevin Durant, Durantula. One of the most gifted players in NBA history.
What do you do?
He can give you the pull up from 3, from half court. He'll dunk on you. He'll put you in pick and roll. There's nothing this man can't do.
Oh, he's 7 foot. What do you do?
There's nothing you can do. Just pray. And of course, the beard.
Step back.
Just a step back. That's probably the most offensively gifted guy in the NBA today. He's led the league in scoring 3 straight years. Look at this.
Strong as a bull.
Oh, my God. Kyrie Irving.
Man.
I would have put Giannis here, but Kyrie Irving. Once he get into his Uncle Drew bag of tricks, he's tough for anybody to guard. I guarantee you one thing. When you get to his city, New York, and you got night plans before, you're not going out that
Don't
night
go out.
when you got Kyrie Irving.
Don't go out.
I guarantee you that.
Extra tape on the ankles.
Right.
My ankles hurt right now. I'm not even
watching.
going.
I miss some good Kyrie Irving around the bucket highlights, so I'm excited for him to come back for that. What do you think of Paul's list?
Oh, no, I think he got hit it on the head. There's so many great offensive players in our league right now. It's hard to narrow down to 5, but I think the 5 he picked are perfect because of what he said. When you talk about LeBron, just physically imposing and then just the smartest player in the game. Damian Lillard, probably the most clutch player in the game that we have today. Kevin Durant, again, what do? He's 7 feet tall. Kyrie, just ready to make you look silly. And then James Harden, it's not just the quickness on the handle and the shot making. He's strong. He's a bully in there. So I think Paul's list is perfect.
Steph Curry doesn't make the cut for you?
Scary?
Well, he hit that 3. He
That's true.
cocks up for that shot.
Look, Steph Curry,
Clay.
Giannis, Clay. I mean, there are a lot of names.
But is there anyone you would take out? Would you take anyone out of Paul's list?
If I had to take someone out, I think I would go with Kyrie and replace it with Giannis because the same thing. Ooh. Physically, Giannis is. You talk about scary?
Yeah.
That guy's coming with a full head of steam. That's scary.
I got you.
Let's move to the Phoenix Suns.
Oh.
Well, a reunion of the Phoenix Suns because it's in Brooklyn. Steve Nash bringing Mike D'Antoni as an assistant coach with him to the Nets. Amari Stoudemire already on the coaching staff as well. Amin, are you going to go work with them? Because you were with this entire group during D'Antoni's son's time. What do you think that Coach Mike can bring to the Nets?
First of all, I would never leave you guys. I love to jump too much to go to the Nets or to any other NBA team. But I love what they've done with this staff. You know, Steve, he's got coaching experience as an assistant coach, but not as a head coach. And when you're a first-time head coach, we always hear the word vet leadership for the locker room. Sometimes you need vet leadership for the bench. And that's exactly what Mike D'Antoni is. He's a guy who's been there, won at a very high level in multiple places in this league, and one of the most creative offensive minds on a clipboard in terms of ATOs, under out of bounds, side out of bounds. So I think that combined with he already has a familiarity with Steve. He's already got a familiarity with Amari. This is a match made in heaven. By the way, Ime Udoka, another great hire because this guy's going to be a head coach in this league sometime soon.
Well, you nailed it on the head. The one good thing is the familiarity he has with these guys. Another thing is the trust. You know, you have guys that you've been around your whole career that you trust. And going into a new situation to where you've never been a head coach, that's important, especially in practices where, you know, Steve hasn't been in the fire yet down the stretch, 2 minutes to go in a playoff setting. He needs guys in there who he can trust that he can go to and ask their opinion. And he nailed it on the head by bringing D'Antoni in.
What do you think it's going to What do you think it's going to be like, though, for Kyrie and KD? You've got a guy as the assistant coach who's been a long-time head coach who it's nice with a hat, Paul. This is an amazing show. Who's been a head coach. Do you feel there's clarity on sort of who to listen to when and all of that stuff?
Well, they'll get that together. You know, there's not only player chemistry, there's coaching chemistry. You know, there's going to be times where he lets D'Antoni lead or Udoka lead at times, you know, and then Stoudemire probably be more into the player development.
Right.
You know, but they got to learn one another. You know, when they get into the coaching setting, when they get into training camp, when they get into the preseason games, that's where they learn each other. And it's gonna take all year, but eventually it'll happen.
You know, and the other thing, another example we can use is look at Steve Kerr.
Right.
Because he had Alvin Gentry, who had been a head coach in this league and had been successful. He had Ron Adams, and then he had young guys like Jaron Collins, like Chris DeMarco. And so what you would see, particularly early on, is they would go out, they commune as a group, but then when they come back to the huddle, Steve is the one delivering the message. I expect the same type of situation. And like Paul said, when we talk about practices or different situations, you might let different people lead. Jacque Vaughn, remember, has the trust of that locker room as well. So I expect Steve Nash to lead in a very collaborative way.
Now, when Mike was in Houston this past season, people said, oh, are we now, because you guys are doing micro ball, are we getting the 7 seconds or less offense back? And he said, I'd like it to be 5. Do you think, Paul, that they're going to play faster now under this group?
Well, I think they have to. I mean, when you look at the way their team is built, they have a number of versatile guys. They don't really need a big man out there. When you can play KD at the 4, the 5, the 3, Kyrie pushing the ball, Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie, they have a number of guys that they can play fast with and open up the court. So, you got to expect some of that to be brought back into D'Antoni's system that he had in Phoenix, not so much of what they had in Houston.
Right.
They slowed it up. So they have the player personnel to do that. They're going to play to their personnel. And whatever that is, that's what coaches have to do.
In Phoenix, we were blessed to have Steve Nash, and we ran a million pick and rolls, and he really dominated the game in the same way that LeBron has the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. Here, they got a different situation because they got 2 guys in KD and Kyrie who can do that. So I expect the ball to move around a lot more, maybe so than even what we had in Phoenix. But again, like Paul said, you got the horses to run, you got shooters, and then even when you talk about your bigs, DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen, as a former assistant coach Phil Weber used to call it vertical spacing. Those are guys that can you set a screen, can you roll hard, can you catch, can you dunk? And that's where having Amari Stoudemire on that staff is going to be huge to help those guys fine-tune that part of the offense, because just because you're not shooting threes doesn't mean you can't play for in this system.
Well, you have to remember, too, the roster we see now for the Nets, not the roster that we expect on opening day, whenever opening day might be, just because Kyrie has already come out and said, we need to make some changes around here, and I know they've been active looking around and talking to other teams, so we'll see what happens. All right, don't go anywhere in this show, because after the break, we have Snoop D-O-double-G joining the jump. We'll get all of it.
Y'all not gonna be the only ones having some Halloween fun without me.
That's right.
Cut it down.
I love it. Well, LA is officially title town, so I need to know which title you're more hyped about, the Lakers or the Dodgers.
What? Let me show you, Rachel. I can show you better than I can tell you.
Okay.
Oh, man. It is.
There it is. Is
that it? Man, yes.
Yeah, Larry O'Brien, Laker championship trophy. I'm more excited about the Lakers, but I am happy for the Dodgers because they've been getting to the finals for the past couple of years and not being able to complete the deal, and bringing in Mookie Betts was like bringing in LeBron James. It was like a deal closer, somebody that could actually close the deal.
You know it.
Snoop, Paul here, man. Let's talk about that tattoo, man. Lakers/Kobe tattoo. What inspired that?
I just think the year that we've been having as far as 2020, just the love that I have for Kobe, the love that I have for the Lakers, and just the way that LeBron and them did it this year through all of the adversity and how they was able to, pull through and stay orientated as a team and just keep distractions to a minimum and just win it all. And it made me want to put that on my body because I felt like I was a diehard Laker fan, since the 70s.
Man, I saw you about 4 years ago. I think it was a Black Panther premiere. You said, you asked me, when am I going to be on the jump? I said, man, you ain't got to ask. The door's wide open. So thank you for joining us. I do want to ask you, though, you are a passionate Laker fan, and after some of the losses, sometimes you will go on social media and you will be going off on some guys. What is it about Laker fans that make y'all so tough on your own players, even when you're the favorite?
Well, the thing is, we have high expectations out here. You know what I'm saying? Every year is championship or bust, no matter what kind of team we got. And then when we do have the team that's, set up to win it all, we expect them to bring their all every night. We know that they're going to have bad games. We know because we have bad records. We have bad singles, and we have things that don't, get approved by the people a lot of times, but we got to keep pushing forward. But the thing is, we love the team that much that we know that they can do better. So when you see me going after a Danny Green or going after Caldwell Pope, it's just to get them better. It's not to try to degrade them or make them feel low. It's to make them know that we expect them to be on the level that they play on. And when they do perform on that level, we get that championship.
Yeah, well, when you get those high standards, you end up with some of the most elite athletes. You said LeBron James came here, closed the deal. I want to know, though, because you're a local guy, Paul's a local guy. In your LA sports Mount Rushmore, just the 4 best Los Angeles athletes ever to play, put on the LA uniform, What do you got for me?
Magic Johnson.
Okay.
Kobe Bryant.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah,
You making it real hard now,
Well,
Rachel.
Paul,
Why you doing this to
well,
me?
Paul,
Why you
what we
making
got?
Lisa Leslie.
Lisa Leslie. Okay, Paul wants Lisa Leslie
no,
on there.
I'm gonna go deeper than that. Even though she never put on the LA uniform, she represented LA. Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller. Yeah,
That's
fair.
Quit playing with me.
Fair.
Quit playing with me.
That's fair. Fair.
Yeah.
All right. So,
And
Paul,
then
you
we can go.
contribute.
And then we can go Lisa Leslie because we're gonna go 2 women and 2 men. We're gonna go
Right.
Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Miller, Kobe Bryant, and Magic Johnson.
I got that. I pretty much agree with that list right there.
right.
I got to throw my girl from
Someone from
England in there.
baseball?
My girl. Oh man, baseball. Well, I was thinking Wayne
A few
Gretzky.
of the
I would have
Ducks
thought maybe
good.
Wayne
Yeah, Wayne
Gretzky
Gretzky could make
would have
it.
been in there.
Eric Dickerson.
Reggie
Eric
Freeman.
Dickerson.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
This is a tough
right?
mountain. This is a
Yeah,
tough
man.
mountain to climb.
Right?
Man.
That Mount
Well, remember, I
Rushmore
didn't see Jackie Robinson.
is
I was
serious.
born in the '70s, so I didn't get to see all those greats that y'all naming. You know, I didn't get to see. I didn't get to see Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't get to see, Rosie Greer and the Rams when they had their thing going on in the '60s, the Chargers, or none of that. I come around, when the Steelers and start establishing their foot in the game.
Snoop, I like any conversation where someone who was born in the 70s is described as young and not around for the old stuff. So that
Snoop, I
makes
got one for you. I got one for you, Snoop. There's some guys in the NBA who tried to rap. Who is the best rapper in the NBA now or before?
I'll say before Glenn Big Dog Robinson was dope.
What?
Ooh, Glenn. No Shaq? Oh, man.
Wait a minute, you didn't let me finish. Y'all just cut me off.
Look.
Glenn Big Dog Robinson was dope, but he didn't have what Shaq had. Shaq had I think Shaq had rap-ism as far as like he was more of a rapper than a basketball player. So I would go with Shaq in the past, and then right now, definitely Dame Dollar.
Right.
Dame Lillard is
I think he's
sick
the only
with
one in the NBA rapping, though,
well,
right
because
now.
he's so actually legit
Right,
that guys
right.
aren't just playing around anymore in the same way.
That's until J. Cole makes the Pistons, and then,
then
he's gonna be the best rapper. In the NBA.
All right, Snoop, before
Why
we let you
he
go.
won't make the Clippers? The Clippers seem like a better shot.
So, all right, see, we got NBA analysis here. This is perfect. Snoop, I want to know, before we let you go, what do you project for the Lakers for next season? Are they winning another one? What changes to the team? What do you got?
I think that was a beautiful culmination of teamwork, the way they came together. I like the way Dwight Howard and Rondo played as far as the veterans, as far as how they was able to season the youngsters up and to play their role. And if those 2 guys happen to come back, if Rondo come back and Dwight Howard come back, I think we can do it again.
All right. Well, there's reports out there that the Clippers are going to try to go after Rajon Rondo, get that
Man, he
Clippers
better
Lakers
not go to
rivalry.
the Clippers, man. Rondo with us, man.
Oh, man. Always great hollering at you, Snoop.
Absolutely.
Hey, you already know what it is, PP, and I'm in Inglewood. Just let me know when I come by and get in one of them nights you be having at the Speeds Out. Talk to me, I'll talk back.
He knows.
Hey, me and Ticket gonna call you.
Quit playing, man. Cut me in and cut me out.
There you go. Snoop, thanks so much for joining us. We will see you back again in person soon. Love the Jason mask. Just, be careful when the kids come around looking for candy. All right, Paul Pierce, one of the 3 Musketeers. Amin Al-Hassan, who's supposed to be Kendrick Perkins, but has totally given up the ghost at this point. Our Jumpkin. Get it?
Jumpkin.
No? Got to credit the control room for that one.
Even the crew didn't laugh.
I'm very fond of the Jumpkin. Something very few people have paid attention to in the past. Oh, I should say I'm the NBA bubble because you certainly cannot tell from my costume. So there you go. The Disney NBA bubble. Get it? Yeah. No. All right. They just showed a picture of Adam Silver in the bubble to make me feel better. It's not working. Nobody recognizes my costume. It's very sad. All right. Let's talk about some money, because people don't normally pay attention to this, right? But the NBA usually actually holds on to a percentage of each player's salary. They put it in escrow. Why? Well, the agreement between the NBA and the Players Union is that however much total revenue the league makes in a given year, the owners and players split it. It's about 50-50. Except when you do a guy's contract in advance, you don't know for sure what the revenue is going to be like every year of the next few years, right? So the league usually holds back about 10% of each guy's salary in escrow. And then at the end of the season, if the league made more money than expected and that 50-50 split is actually higher, players get the money back. If revenues fall short, summer, all of that money goes back to the owners. That way they don't have to chase players down and be like, oh, actually, you owe me $20, right? So why is this a big deal now? Well, the contracts players have signed were not designed with coronavirus in mind, right? So no one had any idea we'd be going on to maybe a second season without ticket sale revenue. So if next season has to begin without fans, holding back 10%, not going to do it. That escrow number the league could put out, it could be as high as 40% of guys' salaries. Here's what that would look like. So we took 3 guys at like different salary levels, right? Steph Curry will be the highest paid player next season, $43 million. But in this scenario, they're taking away 40%. That is a $17 million haircut that he would be taking. A mid-range player like Spencer Dinwiddie drops from making $11.5 million to $6.8 million. And a second-round pick, like let's say Carson Edwards, would see his salary drop. He thought he was making $1.5 million. Instead, he'd be making about $900,000. Keep in mind, players still, after they get that money, they have to taxes, right? California,
both federal
they're
and
pretty high,
state,
right? Players who live in Florida, happier. Texas. You've also got agent percentages, things like that. And look, no one is crying for these guys, Paul. They're all making way more than the average American. That Steph Curry number is still fair. If you're a player and you think you're making X million dollars, 40% is
Rip
a
those
lot.
projections. Call your financial advisor now and say, rip those projections up. But this really hurts the guys. You know, at the top, you can say, okay, Curry, he's making 43, 25. That's not so bad.
It's pretty good.
But the guys at the bottom are going to feel it the most. You see like a Carson Edwards who goes from 1.5 to 900. Then you cut the 900 in half the taxes. Then you get the agent fee. I mean, man.
Right?
That's what's that going to leave them with? It's really hurt the players at the bottom.
You know, and it doesn't just hurt them because they make less. Steph Curry, God bless him, he's made a lot of money past tense. This wasn't his first year of his deal.
Right.
He's got his Under Armour money. He's got his NBA contract money. LeBron, Kevin Durant, these guys are fine. We kind of talked about this, remember, when they were talking about should we restart the bubble, should we not restart the bubble? And it's not about the stars because they have the wherewithal to say, I don't need to play.
Yep.
I don't need my check.
Right.
But guys like Carson Edwards, guys like Javon Carter in Phoenix, guys like Gary Clark in Orlando, these guys haven't made generational wealth.
Right.
And so it's a hit in their pocket. The other thing I want to point out, everyone always says, oh, but the people who play in Florida and Texas, they don't have to worry about state income tax. Yes and no, because what a lot of states have done is if you play a game here, for instance, we're playing the Lakers tonight, we're getting taxed on that, even if I live in Florida or Texas, states with no state income tax.
The majority, they tax you per day, so it's a 365th percentage of your income,
Sure.
that kind of thing. And look, again, I want to make this clear. No one is crying for guys making $500,000 at all. It is still way, way better than the average American is their position they're in. I will just say, if you are a guy who thought you were making $1.5 million, and then after the escrow hit, it is going to be $900,000, and after the tax hit, as you say, Paul, it's going to be about $450,000, and then your agent takes a bite and all of that stuff. You thought you were making $1.5 million, and you're making around $350,000, $400,000. That is a substantive difference, and I don't know how much guys have planned for that. It is part of what all Americans are dealing with, obviously on a much more serious scale with coronavirus and the wave of unemployment we've had. And this is why there is so much back and forth right now between the owners and the players over when's the start date, because more money would come in if they started earlier, right? How many games are we going to play? Things like that, because the salaries are really being affected.
And really quick, that 40% isn't a number that they pulled from the sky. It's supposed to be representative of the loss of in-arena revenue, which the NBA estimates anywhere from 35 to 40% of all the BRI.
Right, exactly. And look, this is going to influence, I think, a lot of things as the players sit here, Paul, and decide when they really want to start. If you see some of this money, the dollar signs going out the door, it might affect you. It also might affect whether you decide to opt in or not opt in this season. Here are some notable players. Again, this is the salary they are supposed to get if they opt in, but take 40% off of that Gordon Hayward number, right? It's a little bit of a difference. Do you think that it will affect if guys opt in or not?
Well, I think you want to opt in because something's better than nothing.
Right.
I mean, you know, especially with the days that we're in, you know, teams are going to offer shorter contracts, less money. So it's best to opt in. But the other thing is what the NBA could wait. You know, they can wait later in January, February to see if they can get fans back in the arenas, and it'll affect that number a little bit different. So I don't know, you know, which direction that the league is heading in. I know there's been a lot of talks about starting in December, to fulfill TV contracts. But if you wait, you can get fans in there. I'm for it.
Well, certainly that is what a lot of the owners were pushing for over the past couple months. And when you see, again, 40%, we talk about the player salaries. We'll think about the owners and what's cutting into their budget of operations and all of that. That's 40% also. That was why there was such eagerness to you know what, let's just push it off. Let's just wait till we can get fans in there. We want fans. It's better for our business model. And I kept saying, well, I want a pony. That's not happening either. and the truth is, if you wait and wait for fans, Paul, we were look, did we think we'd be sitting 6 feet apart at the end of October when this thing first happened in March? No way. No. We thought all of this would be done way before that. So
the real thing I would say is also now it's about saving 21-22.
Right.
Right?
We had Malcolm Brogdon on the show yesterday. Yep. He talked about that a lot.
Right. It's about what this season coming up looks like, it's not going to look like what we want it to look like. But the reason why is because we're taking these steps now so that we can have a regular 21-22.
And the idea of saving the TV contracts, saving the revenue. And when you say, Paul, something is better than nothing, I think that is part of the idea of just starting. Because if you just start and you say, great, if fans can come into the stands in certain states, first of all, and not soon, right? Mm-hmm. At least we'll have something by having that TV money coming in. So we'll see. I don't know. It's all a lot of money to those of us, but it does affect these guys. Up next, Devin's not back in your Halloween costume. Paul, Three Musketeers brought it. Me, I'm the NBA bubble.
All-time worst.
This is your all-time worst? How do you think I feel?
This is my all-time worst.
It's crunch time. Amina's supposed to be Kendrick Perkins, and I demand you go back to being Kendrick Perkins. Yesterday, there was a pro day for Georgia's Anthony Edwards, Kentucky's Tyrese Maxey. Paul, do you want to see more of these NFL-style pro days in the NBA in the future? It was pretty fun.
Rach, I'm not too sold on these pro days because, just to watch a player, look at this. He's handling the ball, he's passing it back, he's taking spot up, no defense around. I can't measure a player's heart, his work ethic. I need to see him against competition. This is all good this is all good for Instagram and, for just, measuring a guy's vert, but this really doesn't tell the tape of a guy who can play. I probably would have failed pro day. they couldn't measure my heart and my will.
Things worked out for you, okay?
And it worked out.
I'm just saying, I would say that pro day in some ways was just an advertisement for Clutch, right? It was a recruiting tool for future guys coming out of college.
Coming
you had LeBron, and you had LeBron and AD sitting there courtside. He was on ESPN too. That's what it felt like to me more than anything.
No, that's really what it is. It's to make Clutch look good, and it's also for the clients to look good. Mm-hmm. For us as teams, we always put guys in positions where they didn't feel comfortable because we wanted to see how you reacted to the adversity. Mm-hmm. That's not adversity. That's just making the kid feel good and have TV cameras and all that.
Right. I'm going to make you uncomfortable and say you should talk in your voice.
Okay.
You're supposed to be
Rachel.
The Mavericks making some trade noise, according to the Dallas Morning News. The Mavs want to move up in the lottery, and everybody except Luka and Porzingis are available. They have picks 18 and 31. So Kendrick Perkins, Amin Al-Hassan, use your front office brain here. Does Dallas have the right idea in this draft of all drafts?
Let me tell you something, Rachel. The Dallas Mavericks have an idea of who they want in the draft. And in this draft where it's so flat, prospects after about 5 through about 15 are the same guy. So if you're the Dallas Mavericks and you know who you want, hell yeah, you go out and get them.
What do you think,
I don't know. I think they need a veteran player, to enhance this roster. But the thing is, too, they try to acquire assets. And the more assets you get later down the road, you can acquire that player that you desperately need to make a championship run.
Here's what I know. They want cap room, not for this season, but next offseason. I wonder why. All right, our draft expert, Jonathan Givony, reporting that the Wolves met with LaMelo Ball earlier this week. Paul, is it a big deal to you? Do you like the potential fit of LaMelo Ball in Minnesota?
Not so sure. They got D'Angelo Russell who needs the ball. Karl Towns needs the ball. I don't know if I like another guy that needs the ball in his hand. And he's shown some greatness in the places he played, but I'm not sure this is the pick for them.
Listen, Rachel, if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, you got an opportunity to get a free look at these prospects. You do it. Anyone who's saying, by the way, I heard rumors about him not interviewing well. If you believe that, then I got a bridge to sell you. Look, if you knew better, you do better.
And there you go.
Burke, come back fast, please.
Yeah, we need you, Burke. This is not going well. The Jump would like to wish a happy 24th birthday to Devin Booker. Paul said before the break he's only 24. Yes, he's only 24 and led the Suns to an improbable 8-0 record during the restart. He averaged over 30 a game in that stretch. He was second in MVP voting to Dame Lillard in the bubble for the bubble MVP. Such a young age. The best may be yet to come. So what do you think the ceiling is for Book?
Rachel, I think that he can be the best shooting guard in the NBA and on the MVP ballot within the next 3 years.
Next 3 years?
Yeah. I said what I said, Rachel.
Strong. I think he could be the best player on the championship team.
You do? Okay,
you know,
so
I
he
think,
has that.
As I always say, you need that swing guy who could do multiple things, and he's shown a lot over the last couple of years and in this bubble. His maturity, his all-around offensive game. He needs to get better on defense, but he could be the best player on the championship team, I believe.
Where do you feel the Suns are right now? I mean, because obviously those seeding games, they look great.
I'm going to do this in my voice because I'm tired of doing the Perk voice. This is the thing about teams like the Suns. When you are trying to be great, that's not something that, okay, we got it. We went in on the bubble. Now everything's here on after. You got to do it every single day. And this organization has shown an inability of doing things like that every single day. So the one thing they got to watch out for is recidivism, going back to your old ways. And it's real easy if the season doesn't start the way you liked it, the way it ended, to kind of everybody let go of the rope. So before we say what can the Suns be, I just want to see them try and continue the good habits that Monty Williams got them working on last season.
Paul, do you see them as an over 500 team, as a playoff team, making into that lower seeding in the West?
They're hard for me to figure out because they start off the season so well.
They usually do,
it's like, oh, they're going to be in the playoffs. Then they just tank. And then they come to the bubble, and they look like a playoff team. You know, they got to find some consistency within this group. And I think with some of the veterans they have, they found it. I think they could be a playoff team next year.
Now, you remember Jason Tatum said it was after he made the All-Star game last year, it just like completely changed his mindset. He said he thought of himself differently. He wasn't worried about himself in the same way anymore. And we saw his play just take off. Do you think Book, having made the All-Star team, is going to influence him the same way? What kind of confidence did it give you as a player?
Oh, it gave me tremendous confidence. It made me feel like, you know, I belong with these guys. So when I sit in that locker room and I'm sitting next to LeBron, Wade, and all, I felt like I belong now. And it's like, all right, it's time for me to go show it. You know, he had that opportunity this year. He feels like he belongs. Now it's time to take his team to the next level, not only as an individual. He took his game to the next level. It's time to take his team to the next level now.
Now, I think for Book, he's thought of himself as an all-star several seasons before this one. So this wasn't like a, oh, wow, I finally made it. It's one of those about time. So, and that's one of the things I love about him. He's got high aspirations and high ambitions for himself.
Devin Booker, the only NBA player to be in the All-Star game, the NBA bubble, and Kardashian Island, all three. He got a trifecta this year. So
you knew better, you do better.
He wins. There you go. This just in at the buzzer. I'm very sad about this. Our graphics producer, Kate, is leaving us. I know.
Shout out to Gina.
Shout out to Gina as well. She is not going too far. She will be joining the LA Clippers next week. But you know those resumes that our fans love so much, right? At the bottom of the screen?
Nice.
She is responsible for those. She is brilliant. She is funny. She has been with us since 2017, a vital part of our staff. I love seeing all these moments over the years. She's got great photo face too.
Hopefully she can bring high expectations for the Clippers, some championship vibes.
Well, yes, we've had staffers go to the Lakers. We've had Kobe's Granity Company take someone, and now the Clippers are taking us. Kate, we imagined what she would look like in her new digs, right? We have a Photoshop there.
What do we got?
Thank you so much, Kate, for everything you have done.